Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to Seven Scorpion Tarot. I am your host with the most, and I want to welcome you to tonight's reading. So tonight, there are no planets in your sign. There's nothing going on. Um, Pretty quiet in terms of the celestial weather for your sign, at least for the moment, until January 11th, when the nodes shift. The north node will be in Pisces, and then the south node will be in Virgo, which are my placements. So I'm actually kind of curious as to how that's going to play out for me and anybody else too with that placement as well. So I hope you guys are having a good holiday week. You know, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Happy Festivus. Uh, Kind of going in blind to your reading, but I want to do a self, shadow, and ego, carry on with that theme that I've been doing for the sign specifics. So let's see. Let's get some cards, kind of just dive right in, see what's going on. Let's see. So a card for the self. I have such small hands. And it drives me crazy to shuffle this way. It just doesn't feel right. Some decks I have to, though, like with the Lunar Nomad Oracle. I can't palm that one. This is the last unicorn deck. Very pretty. This is the most expensive deck I've ever bought for myself, and I'm very, very happy with it. Oh, all right. Two of Swords. A decision, or indecision, was actually the first word that came to mind. So, indecision in the self. Maybe you're chewing on something. Uh, I know in this depiction, like both the swords are the same, but uh, one of the depictions I really, really like is in the Game of Thrones tarot with Arya, and she's got a training sword and a real sword, needle. And that's always what comes to mind when the Two of Swords skips out. That you may be trying to decide between, is this for real or are we just practicing? Like, are you speaking from your chest or not? You know, like poop or get off the pot, as it were. I kind of want another card for the self to see maybe what's the nature of the choice. I know the lover's card is typically more of like the choice, but it also like almost looks like an eclipse here. So whatever decision, whatever choice is made, hey kitten, but whatever decision, whatever choice is made, one will eclipse the other. Like it's a Rubicon. That's what I was looking for. You're at a Rubicon choice point. Like not every choice point is a Rubicon, but maybe this one very much is. And that's I'm referencing the Julius Caesar crossing the Rubicon, and I can't remember um how the phrasing actually is, but it's like he said the die is cast. That when they cross the Rubicon, there's no turning back. Like their factions could not have gone backwards across that river once they were across. Ooh, one more for the self. Going with that one, maybe? Yes. Ooh, Seven of Swords. Is someone deceiving you? Someone sneaking around? Because, like, yes, this is deceptive energy, but if you've seen The Last Unicorn, he freed her. Do you need to be deceptive to gain freedom? I hope not. I've been there. Like, I've had to be deceptive to protect my freedom, to protect myself. And I mean, you can go with sort of the like everyday run of the mill example of like some idiot, not taking no for an answer and then giving them a line of like, oh, I have a boyfriend. And they're like, oh, okay. Because an imaginary man is worth more respect than the living, breathing woman right in front of you saying no, apparently. Blah. Um, but it could be something like that. And I think it's a good point to remove judgment around that type of deception of if you must lie to keep yourself safe, do so without remorse. Full stop. Blanket statement. Like, of course they're going to be like, but what about? I don't care. Um, if someone is making you feel so unsafe to the point where you must lie, lie. Who cares? Who gives a shit? Like, pardon my French, but um, the people that have taken issue with me being deceptive with them in regards to just whatever the situation was, like you know, maybe was lying just to get them off my back because they would not listen. Literally would not listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Like a person can only be pushed so far before they have to take an alternate route. And it's amazing the blame shifting that will happen, that sure it's my fault, like me for lying, being deceptive, but absolutely no recognition for the things that led to me being deceptive in the first place. You know, my little soapbox. Um, let's get a card for the shadow. I was just about to say ego, even though I knew it was going over here. So maybe that's that deception energy. Something's like flip flopped. Meow. Hi, kitten. Are you ready for Tina? No, didn't hear a peep. Shadow. Shadow, shadow, shadow. Unless we want to start with the ego? No? Let me shuffle. Still gonna go for the shadow. Maybe I'm a little distracted. I feel a little distracted. I don't like a confirmation bark outside. Definitely having a hard time meditating today. Six of coins in reverse. So charity and generosity blocked. Equal give and take blocked. So this could be like overgiving. This could also, since it's in the shadow, this could be an expression of codependency. That's how I'd read that. Uh, and I love this the little pirate cat. But equal give and take blocked or out of balance in the shadow. Could definitely read that as codependency. So something is out of balance. And any situation that would cause you to be deceptive, of course, would be out of balance. And you could be even striking out blindly out of a need to protect yourself, maybe. Maybe you want to take that blindfold off and strike with precision. Because he's got both eyes covered and the little pirate cat only has one. And I remember her in the movie, how upset she was when her wish was granted. that she was like old or whatever uh when she finally got to see a unicorn. So there might be some resentment in the shadow, and resentment can be and often is birthed of legitimate wounds. Like resentment is talked about, as this thing that, don't let it develop and whatnot. And I don't know, emotions are important information about your wounding. Like it's a map to follow. And if there is resentment from not receiving your fair share, potentially not receiving what you earned, not receiving what you were rightfully entitled to, something like that. That's an important wound to examine, because that's real, legitimate, valid resentment that needs to be soothed so that, I don't know, maybe you can develop solutions to turning that into the upright, to either, you know, kind of doing a pros and cons thing. Like, do I pursue trying to make something right? Do I move on, leave it in the past as is? And something just came to mind. A meme I saw says, two wrongs don't make a right, said the person who benefited from the first wrong. So it's important to remember uh, anybody that is like telling you, you got to move on, you got to get over it, two wrongs don't make a right, yada, yada, yada. What serves them? What what actions do you take that serve them? Meaning, not necessarily that they have like nefarious intentions or anything like that, but what requires the least effort of them? People be people in, and they have their own lives. You may very well not be a priority in that life. That's a harsh reality. It's important to know, though, if somebody's treating you in an unfair manner, like not giving you your just rewards, they just told you where you stand. So, something to think about. And that can leave a lot of relics in the shadow. So start shuffling for the ego. Oh, and since ego came to mind, like when I was thinking about shuffling for the shadow, but ego came to mind, like that's a blow to the ego of like, I'm not a priority to them. And it's not saying they're like necessarily a bad person or anything like that. They might just be wrapped up in their own stuff, which is an unfortunate reality, and does not absolve them of their responsibility to you if you're dependent on them. It really doesn't. That might sound a little bit harsh, but um, codependency, forgetting to have your needs met even though other people also have needs. Like it's got to be equal give and take, that reciprocity. and hold people to it. Like, words are not enough. It needs to be like demonstrable action and change when you've been wronged. And it doesn't need to be personal for you to be wronged. I think that's a really important distinction. That's something that's got me, and that I'm starting to get, more comfortable with as I get to know the word codependency a little bit more and like what that consists of. Um, just totally lost my train of thought. Just gone with the wind. um, but like unintentional harm is still harm. And the way, how do I say this? I didn't mean to isn't good enough. It's not. If you're telling someone that, like, hey, this hurt me, this had negative impacts on me, these were the tangible X, Y, and Z results, negative results in my life as a result of your actions, I didn't mean to, is not good enough. They need to fix it. I have let a lot of things slide by being a Pisces, by going, I understand we all have hard days. There's a second part to that sentence. And what are you going to do to fix it? Dark Pisces is off the bench. Well, I mean, I don't know. Because the dark Pisces, the shadow Pisces, is the overly altruistic and codependent Pisces, but I digress. Let's get a card for the ego, because that was my little reminder for my support group. I don't know if you guys heard the ding. Let's see. Ego. Bit of shuffle. Some air in there. That wrong. I think I like that one. Ooh, 8 of Cups. Leaving something behind. So, yeah. I mean, if something's making you deceive in order to survive it, to withstand it, if it's not giving to you reciprocally, is that a word? Reciprocally? In a reciprocal manner, or equally you're having to give too much of yourself, might be time to leave it behind. And I know it's definitely not as simple as, okay, I'm miserable, I'm going to leave my job. Like, capitalism be capitalisming, so rent is expensive. um I think it's important, though, that if you've come to that conclusion, like, you have to take the time that you need, maybe consult like a support group, like, I go to a support group once a week. Maybe you can find something similar, hang out with your buddies, like whatever works for you. Consult the council on getting an outside perspective of what might be best. Let me get an audacity card. So the Eight of Cups, she looks awfully sad, and it might be a difficult departure, whatever it is. Even if, like, you're in a crappy situation, it can still, like, it can be daunting, and it can be hard to leave behind too, especially if you've been in a relationship in a city or something that you're leaving behind. Like, if you've been in that situation for a while, it can be really hard to leave it behind. uh Brains don't like change. The dead end job. Okay, well, that's a little bit of a slap in the face. um Look at that card, the little labyrinth back there. Huh. Well, this might be about work. And I mean, there is a pentacle. I mean, wands are really the only energy that's not represented here. But if it is about work, you know, do what you got to do. I think the phrase, what, gosh dang it, what is it? The best time to look for a job is when you have one. And if you're not under contract, you're not under contract. And it's up to them to decide if they want to keep you or not. Um, if you've been raising your complaints, if you've been expressing your unhappiness and they're not putting in effort to making changes for you, into like partnering with you on what is possible in changes and whatnot, um, they have shown you where you stand with them in their eyes. And words of affirmation, not enough when it comes to employment. There needs to be tangible action behind those words, like just saying, we value you, we appreciate you, good job, here's a pizza party, whatever. Not enough. It's employment, it's a livelihood. I feel like all of us collectively, because rent is expensive, we have endured some crap from our capitalist overlords. And the only way for us to achieve change is to push back. We can't just keep accepting poor treatment for insufficient pay and then going, I'm grateful, capitalist daddy. Like, it's supposed to be a reciprocal, like a two-way street. And I think that might be on a lot of our minds right now with holidays, and holidays are expensive, and so on and so forth. So a lot to think about, kind of heavy energy, and with the South Node moving into your sign in less than a month, I understand why this might be so heavy right now. But overall, I hope this helps. I hope it resonates, and if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.